This robot just landed a standing side flip. It costs $13,500, and you can put it in an online shopping cart right now. A checkout page, a PayPal button, a shipping fee. The most famous American humanoids, the ones with billion-dollar valuations behind them, are not for sale at any price. The robot is Unitree's G1, and the flip is not even the strange part. When it launched 2 years ago, the sticker said $16,000. Since then, it has learned the side flip, the kip up, and full kung fu routines, and the price went down. The machine got better and cheaper at the same time, which is what happens to consumer electronics and almost never happens to robots. Now, read the fine print, because it is doing a lot of work. On Unitree's own spec table, there is a row called Secondary Development. For the $13,500 G1, that row is a slash. Nothing. The base model cannot be programmed. No SDK, no custom code. You get the app, the controller, and the moves Unitree ships. The robot you can actually develop on is the EDU tier. Price on request, and resellers quote it at roughly $44,000 to $74,000. So the viral sticker buys the body. Access to the brain costs 3 to 5 times more.
You could watch this new price floor walk around in public this June. Robotics creator Conflicts filmed the floor of ICRA in Vienna, the biggest robotics research conference on Earth. And in his footage, the machines drawing the crowds are not the $250,000 lab platforms. They are cheap Chinese humanoids, Unitree's machines, boosters, wave after wave of them, being filmed, poked, and priced by anyone walking past. Nobody handed the $13,000 robot a medal. It did not need one. It was everywhere.
And while everyone argues about whether 13.5 counts as cheap, Unitree has already moved the bottom rung again. The R1 starts at $4,900. It is smaller, about 4 feet tall, lighter, runs about an hour per charge, and the base versions cannot be programmed either. But it walks, flips, and boxes for the price of a used motorcycle. Then, the demand signal landed. On June 30th in Shenzhen, UBTECH launched a consumer humanoid line called the UWORLD U1. Startlingly human-looking machines with lifelike faces built for companionship, reception work, and elder care rather than backflips. The entry model is a half-body unit at about $17,000. Reported pricing puts the full-body version at about $24,000 and the flagship near $1,000,000 yuan. And by the end of launch day, UBTECH claimed 13,361 orders. Claimed orders, not deliveries. The first robots are scheduled to reach buyers in mid-September. But no Western humanoid company has ever posted a day-one consumer number like that.
Now put the American side on screen, because the contrast is not that the robots are worse. Figures Humanoids spent 11 months on a BMW assembly line in South Carolina, loading over 90,000 parts into live production. Work reportedly billed at around $25 per robot hour. You cannot buy one. Tesla's Optimus has a famous price, $20,000 to $30,000, but that is a target for a robot with 0 outside sales so far. 1X will take a pre-order for its Neo home robot, $20,000 or $500 a month, with deliveries starting this year. Agility's Digit has moved more than 100,000 totes in a GXO warehouse as a rented service on a machine historically quoted around $250,000. And Atlas, probably the most athletic machine alive, has no price at all. The West sells hours, targets, and subscriptions. China put a price on the box.
So why can Chinese companies print numbers the West will not touch? Open the robot up. A humanoid is mostly joints, dozens of motorized modules, each one a motor, a gearbox, and an encoder in a metal can. Teardown and analyst estimates put those joint modules at roughly 2/3 of the component cost. Unitree makes its own: motors, reducers, encoders, sensors, and sells them on the same storefront as the robots. Its factory sits in Hangzhou, UBTECH's in Shenzhen, inside the densest electronics supply chain on Earth, with government money pushing the whole sector forward. UBTECH is now industrializing that advantage. It partnered with Siemens this spring to digitize its production lines. Its Walker factory robots are already shipping in volume. The company claims over 800 million yuan in orders, and it is targeting capacity for 10,000 industrial humanoids a year. When the parts are yours and the suppliers are your neighbors, the sticker is not a bluff. It is a supply chain.
Now the honest half of the brief, because cheap is not the same as capable. A car owner in Shanghai bought 2 G1s and put them to work washing his car. The robotics account CyberRobo posted the clip. The robots spray, they foam, they wobble, one falls over. CyberRobo says the wash is not clean, and the owner ends up finishing the job himself. That is the real state of cheap humanoid labor. Nearly every jaw-dropping clip from a cheap humanoid is a shipped motion routine or a teleoperated performance. Real balance, real toughness, and no proof the robot can be trusted with a shift of work. Meanwhile, the expensive American machines are quietly logging paid hours, parts into sequencing carts at BMW, totes through a warehouse, night after night. Price floor and capability ceiling are different scoreboards. Right now, each side of the Pacific leads on exactly one of them. But floors matter, because everyone stands on them. At $5,000 to $15,000 a body, a humanoid stops being a lab budget and becomes a line item for schools, startups, film crews, and strange little experiments like a car wash in Shanghai. More bodies in the wild means more people building on them, more failures in public, and more data feeding the next round of software. Unitree is already showing where it wants that to go. Its latest model demo has a G1 loading a dishwasher, sorting medicine boxes, and adjusting a hospital bed. Company footage, parts sped up, autonomy claimed rather than proven. So keep the two scoreboards separate. The capability race is still wide open. The price race has a leader, and it was not close.